Aaron Rodgers has spoken. He joined the Pat McAfee show just a little while ago, dove into what he's heard from the Steelers, where he is in his decision-making process, and believe me, a lot more. We'll talk about all of it. Welcome to NFL Live. We're so glad you're with us. Jason McCourty is here, and our newest colleague, Peter Schrager, joining us here on the show. Let's go. It's so good to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Such a fan of this show, such a fan of you, such a fan of Mina, of course, Jason and Adam, but I'm also a fan of Aaron Rodgers for giving us some content to talk about.
Let's go. Yeah,
I had to text him. Go on McAfee. We need to talk about it. That's it. That's
all. Oh, so he texts you back. No. Okay, interesting. So Adam Schefter, as you mentioned, he will be here as well. There he is. Mina Kimes joining us too. And as we learned from Rodgers, he's still a free agent. But we wondered if he would appear on McAfee's show today to announce that he was going to the Steelers or even announce a retirement. That wasn't the case. What he did, however, was provide a good bit of context on where he is at the moment.
I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement still could be a possibility. But right now, my focus has been and will continue to be on my personal life. And that's what I've told the coaches. There's still conversations that are being had, and so it's all been very honest lines of communication. I've really appreciated the time I talked to the various teams. I did talk to Brian Daboll and had great conversation with him. Really enjoyed him a lot. I think he's a lot of fun to talk to and has a beautiful football mind. I've talked to Mike Tomlin. He's more than I even thought from afar as far as the type of person that he is. I have a lot of respect for what he's accomplished in the league. There's been a lot of people assuming they have information about me that's just not true. I've been straight up with these teams from the start about where I was at, starting with the money thing. I told every single one of the teams I talked to, it ain't about the money. I play for 10 M's. I don't care. I never once said I need a multi-year deal, $30, $40 million. It's absolute bullshit. I said I play for 10.
Okay, as promised, Mina Kimes is here. Adam, we go to you first, though. A lot to unpack there. What was your biggest takeaway from hearing Rodgers speak today?
That this still could go any way in the future. Now, I still think a lot of people would be surprised if ultimately Aaron Rodgers ended his football career now and allowed last season to be his last NFL taste. I don't think that's the way he would want to go out. I think a lot of people don't think that's the way he would want to go out. But he left open any number of possibilities here. And look, it's not like the Steelers can turn away from Aaron Rodgers and turn to somebody else. Aaron Rodgers gets added time to wait out the Minnesota Vikings if that's what he wants. And he made it very clear also that he's dealing with some significant personal challenges to friends of his or people that he cares about that enter into his decision. So he doesn't sound like he's in any rush right now, despite the fact that the Steelers' offseason program begins next week, despite that the NFL draft starts 1 week from tonight. Aaron Rodgers is on his own timeline, not anybody else's.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. Last year, he finished bottom 10 in QBR, yards per 10, completion percentage over expected, what have you. I don't think anyone really believed he was going to command some giant salary or a robust market per se. And I think for the Steelers, while he is perfectly entitled to take his time to make a choice, mentally, what you do in this draft should have nothing to do with whether or not Aaron Rodgers joins your football team. If you like one of the quarterbacks, you draft them. I think this is a team that is well situated for a rookie quarterback, which is something we don't say very often, but the offensive line, the skill players are in good place. You got a good coaching staff, obviously, good defense. So you go into this draft without Aaron Rodgers impacting the process, because who knows how long this thing's going to take with him.
I look at this almost from two different vantage points. As a media member, as a fan of the game, I was hoping to get Rodgers on McAfee today and find out that he was going to the Steelers, retirement, something just to get answers. But as a former player, I look at it as Rodgers right now is in the driver's seat. He said it. He doesn't owe the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Minnesota Vikings, us as fans. He doesn't owe anyone anything. He has the right to wait till he knows for sure what he wants to do with his future. when you listen to him, it didn't sound like for sure he knows that he wants to play football this upcoming season. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, like Nina said, it doesn't change their draft standpoint. But at some point, you have to look at each other. And if he told every team this that was interested, I'm sure some moved on, some, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, have stuck around. But you got to at some point look at each other and say, hey, as a football team, as a franchise, we may have to just say, hey, we're cutting ties, we're moving forward with what we have right now.
This is who you're dancing with. The second day of free agency, there were erroneous reports out there, not by anyone on this show or in this network, saying we should know by the end of Wednesday where Rodgers is going. And I was on Good Morning Football on NFL Network. I went, you know that? Because the Aaron Rodgers I know is going to do it to the beat of his own drum, and he'll do it when he wants. And here we are, more than 6 weeks later, and we're still talking about where Rodgers is going to go. And almost moreover, I was intrigued by what he had to say about the way the Jet situation went down, that he flew his own play. He got out there on himself, thought he was going to have an open conversation and have a dialogue, and Aaron Glenn abruptly was like, so we're moving on, dude. Like, and that was that, and that caught him by surprise. So for Rodgers to not give us the answer we want, look, if he was ever going to do this, it would have been at Pat McAfee's big night out in Pittsburgh, and there was going to be a red carpet, and he and Sidney Crosby were going to come out arm in arm and do headbutts with Paul Skeens. It didn't happen. They start their, camp soon, like Monday, like it opened, like
right.
I think they should at least have thought going into this process that they would have an answer by now. They are dancing with the partner that they chose to dance with. This was never going to be on their schedule, and I know that might be very uncomfortable for fans of the NFL.
Yeah, regarding the Jets side of things, I agree with Peter. I found that pretty intriguing that he was insulted, frankly, by how Aaron Glenn handled things. If I'm a Jets fan, I'm thrilled to hear that your new head coach, the new front office, they're decisive, right? There's no messing around. I mean, Aaron Rodgers basically helped run the franchise last 2 years. We saw how that worked out. Now you've got a new head coach in who's wiping the slate clean, who's being very clear and direct. I think that's a good thing, frankly. So just on the Jets side of things, I would be actually encouraged by that.
Just for context here, it's worth reminding, I saw this today, Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown a playoff touchdown since January 24th of 2021. That's 1,544 days ago, for anyone counting. And just for context about what we're about to talk about, Shedeur Sanders had just finished up his last season at Trinity Christian School in Cedar Hill, Texas. He wasn't even at Jackson State yet. That's just how long ago all of this happened. But either way, along the Shedeur lines. Okay, we're just 1 week away from the NFL draft. The Giants and their third overall pick are a massive part of the conversation, as this could go many ways. The Giants doing a private workout with Shedeur in Boulder today. It was previously scheduled, right? They'll do the same with Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, Louisville quarterback Tyler Shough before the draft. And this offseason, the Giants signed veteran quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. They brought back Tommy DeVito on a one-year deal. Big Blue, though, desperate need of production from that position, as they had just 15 touchdown passes last season, the fewest in the NFL. Peter, what are you hearing about the Giants' interest in taking Shedeur at number 3 as we all try to figure this out?
Yeah, look, I think at the signing of Jameis Winston followed by Russell Wilson, there are a lot of people who rolled their eyes and said, neither one of those guys can be your long-term answer. This is just, what are you doing? But how much better off are the Giants right now knowing they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston than sitting on their hands and waiting for an Aaron Rodgers and saying, okay, well, now we have to draft somebody. I think Joe Shane laid it out very clearly yesterday at his press conference, saying we do not have to do anything at quarterback. We have 2 viable options. That said, and I think a lot of the reporting has been really solid on this, there has been a ton of interest in Shedeur Sanders from the Giants camp. They sent 13 different people to his pro day. They have been to Shedeur Sanders practices. That's Joe Shane. Multiple games. When he came to New Jersey for his visit, they took him out to dinner, which they did not do with everybody. I think the Giants are uncovering every stone. Now, the workout today,